Do you personally support the idea of conducting a raid or enforcement action in a church service, at a school?
Well, let me address this. Of course, if you have a person who is convicted of a violent crime, whether they're an illegal immigrant or a non-illegal immigrant, you have to go and get that person to protect the public safety.
Peter Thiel's lapdog is using his first interview as VP to pick a fight with his own religion. Watch.
I was actually heartbroken by that statement. And I think that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops needs to actually look in the mirror a little bit and recognize that when they receive over $100 million to help resettle illegal immigrants, are they worried about humanitarian concerns, or are they actually worried about their bottom line? We are going to enforce immigration law. We're going to protect the American people.
Yeah.
Donald Trump promised to do that. And I believe the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, if they're worried about the humanitarian costs of immigration enforcement, let them talk about the children who have been sex trafficked because of the wide open border of Joe Biden.
You personally
let them talk
support them
about
going into
people like
schools
Laken
and
Riley
churches.
who were brutally murdered. I support us doing law enforcement against violent criminals, whether they're illegal immigrants or anybody else, in a way that keeps us safe.
It's really rich to hear J.D. Vance, of all people, whining about the Catholic Church, only caring about the bottom line, given he's one of the highest-ranking members of the Republican Party, whose sole function is to protect the bottom line of the ruling class. But what's even more rich is hearing in his words, practicing Catholic go against the most foundational principles of the religion's teachings. Specifically, this was what he was responding to on Face the Nation.
Immigration policies. A prominent Catholic Church leader said, quote, some provisions contained in the executive order, such as those focused on the treatment of immigrants and refugees, are deeply troubling and will have negative consequences in their view.
We think we have to speak to many of these policies, which we see as going against some of the basic tenets of our faith, frankly. The fundamental right of every human person that need to be respected, no matter their origin, no matter their situation.
Bishops Timothy Broglio and Mark Seitz are just two of many prominent and powerful clergymen to speak out against Trump and Stephen Miller's dystopian white nativist immigration plans. Now, just to be clear, we're no fans of the Catholic Church and its dark history, but it's undeniable that the message of treating immigrants and migrants with humility instead of cruelty is needed now more than ever. Remember this?
Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meatpacking plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation, but the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here.
You could tell this sermon from Bishop Mary Ann Buddy was exposing just how fragile Trump's ego is with every passing second. And considering his immediate reaction to getting scolded in front of the whole world, it's no wonder why J.D. took up the fight himself when given the opportunity.
What did you think of the service?
What did you think? Did you like it? Did you find it exciting? Not too exciting, was it? I didn't think it was a good service, no. Thank you very much.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press.
They can do much better.
Trump responded on his social media platform this morning, saying, in part, quote, the so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left, hardline Trump hater. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart, end quote.
Now, one Catholic cardinal is slamming Vance for going after the American Conference of Catholic Bishops for daring to challenge their authority.
I was really disappointed with what he said on Face the Nation the other day.
Yeah.
And I don't mind telling you, somewhat hurt.
Yeah.
This was not only harmful, this was inaccurate.
That voice belongs to the Archbishop of New York since 2009, Cardinal Timothy Dolan, one of the most powerful members of the American Catholic Church. Keep that in mind as you listen to him respond to Vance's Face the Nation appearance.
The bishops, they're pro-immigrant because of the bottom line, because they're making money off this. That's just scurrilous. Yeah. That's very nasty, and it's not true. You think we make money caring for the immigrants? We're losing it hand over fist thanks to our generous benefactors. Yeah. You think we make money on our schools? He's a strong supporter of our schools. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. No. You think we make money on our health care? No. We're not in a money-making business. And for him to imply that the motive in caring for the immigrant, which, by the way, the government asks us to do. So I was a guy who has struck me as a gentleman and a thoughtful man, and from whom I'm still expecting great things. I hope it was an uncharacteristic moment.
That last sentence really puts his condemnation of Vance into perspective. Dolan admitting that he thinks of J.D. as a gentleman and thoughtful man who he expects to see great things out of in the future leads us to believe that he's not entirely unhappy with some of Trump and Vance's other policies and rhetoric. So speaking out this forcefully on this specific issue of immigration signals that the church has a limited amount of tolerance for such blatantly inhumane policies and just may be an ally to the left, at least on this one issue going forward. At least, we hope.
If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.